Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Today's episode, powered by Hayabusa, is all about learning how to punch properly with bare knuckles. All right, welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing. Today we're focusing on learning how to punch properly. And you're gonna realize as soon as you come into martial arts, the first thing your instructor tells you to do is we get wraps on and then we put some big gloves on. And I think to me, that is a big mistake a lot of times because with that big padding, you don't really get to feel how your knuckles are landing, how your wrist position is, and your wrist might be very weak. So we tape them up, we protect the knuckles, and this way you don't hurt your hand, which is great when you start, but if you keep doing that and you keep putting on the big gloves to hit pads in the bag, that becomes a problem. So right away here, what I recommend for people is have different size gloves at first. I hate hitting pads in big gloves, so I like smaller gloves so you can feel the impact of the knuckles, okay? So the challenge is, in this video, is to give you a few drills and different types of exercises to make sure you're learning to punch properly. So this is why we're forcing ourselves to be bare knuckle. Now, one of the more simple drills that I like to start with is just making sure your knuckles and your wrists are in line, right? That's why we don't want to be punching like this or down. That's how you hurt your wrist. The first thing you wrap when you put hand wraps on is your wrist and your knuckles. Protect the two. Right? So let's get into the first drill I do. So this starts from a push-up position. So from my push-up position, I need to be able to focus on either the two big knuckles or the three smaller, okay? There's four, but you kind of put pressure on each of the knuckles you want to feel. So first I'm going to start with the traditional big two. Now, even just from here, that's more of a vertical punch, and I can turn them over, and I just want to make sure my wrists don't collapse. So right now, my two knuckles are penetrating into the mats and I'm keeping my wrists nice and straight, okay? And that's gonna teach it. Now I can go vertical punch here. I'm still landing those two big knuckles in, and then I could even turn them over to make sure they're still in line, okay? Now, to what makes the good alignment is you're gonna see from here is my wrist and knuckle have to be a flat line. If I'm punching this way, I'm not landing with these knuckles. And this is why I get a lot of fighters who put MMA gloves on for the first time, and I see all these knuckles bleeding. It's because they're probably punching with their wrist off. MMA gloves aren't the greatest to be able to land with the knuckles, but you have to learn how to manipulate your wrists and your hands to be able to punch properly, okay? Now, I came from a traditional Taekwondo background where you learn, every punch you learn, okay, is flat wrist. And if you look from the top-down view, my two big knuckles are in line with my wrist, okay? If it's bent sideways, my wrist can turn left and right, or I don't want it to go up and down. So flat and two knuckles travel up. So now when I make impact with these two knuckles, that has the force and the energy can travel up. My wrist won't twist. Now, as you get more advanced in different boxing principles, you'll realize you do need to strengthen and hit with different parts of the hand. I always talk about an up jab, right? This up jab coming up on this angle. Now, at that point, you're gonna have to focus on the bottom two knuckles. So, same kind of thing. It requires the manipulating of the wrist, but if I could also make sure it's in a good position. So now I'm back into my push-up position, and I'm really making sure I push the bottom two in this time. Now, even if you look from this angle here, I can put in the bottom two or the top two, okay? I decide, but my wrist has to be in a strong position and I'm a good, nice, strong fist. Now, even when I leave my hands from the mat, you can see which knuckles were in the mat because I'm really forcing. Now, that forced me to be in a good wrist alignment and the knuckles are nice. Now, once you understand the position of the knuckles to the wrist, right, whether you're landing which knuckle you decide, this is when you move on to the bag. Now, when you come to the bag, you can wear wraps, okay? Eventually, you want to toughen the skin on the knuckles as well. But what you're going to practice is nice and slow, just making sure you punch the bag with the proper two knuckles, okay? Now, every time I punch, I'm making sure I'm penetrating with those two, okay? Whether it's a vertical or I'm turning the punch over, every time I'm landing with those two knuckles in particular, okay? So if you look at a nice side angle here, when I'm landing, you can see that these bottom two knuckles are off and I'm still hitting with the nice two. And if I turn this way, same thing. My two knuckles are always landing. I'm consciously telling myself those are the ones that need to land. Then I might change it up, right? I can go jab, cross, okay? Jab, up jab. Now with my up jab or a nice up cross, okay? Boom. I'm focusing on landing with the bottom two. So bottom two, top two, bottom two. So just playing with the variations, right, and mixing them help you get really comfortable changing the wrist to land with different parts of the knuckles. And just even doing this type of drill, you'll notice when a lot of newer fighters break their hand, it's always from these bottom two knuckles, right? Off the pinky tends to break the most. So by just even touching the bag here, you're strengthening all the bones in your hand. So if you do take impact and it's hit on a wrong angle, your hand is still strong enough to be able to take the damage, okay? So push-ups first, get the right alignment. Once you're here, start touching, okay? Which hand position you want to land. And make sure you mix in verticals, ups, and just changing different angles. Now, that's straight punches, right? Now, a good tip for some hooks on the bag. Now, the big problem with hooks is hitting those knuckles we talked about, right? Just think about the MMA glove. The big knuckles are covered, but these need to be hidden a little bit. So even when I hook the bag, I can't hit with these knuckles, so I need to kind of change my wrist a little bit. So what you'll notice is I slightly bring my wrist in. Now when I bring my wrist in slightly, I feel my knuckles penetrate and hit the bag. Boom, my knuckles are hitting, okay, my hitting. And now watch what I do with my hooks. I'm gonna change from upstairs hooks into shovel punches, and I even manipulate my wrist again, okay? Thumb up, thumb sideways, you know, thumb down, and every time, big knuckles, boom, big knuckles, okay? I might shovel punch here with the bottom, and every time I'm touching, I'm feeling my knuckles land. Once you find a nice angle for the straights and the hooks, this is when you get to flow a little bit with the bag. Now, some tips here. This really isn't about knuckle conditioning, but it really is, because you're still getting that little bit of hitting, the vibrations, the toughening of the skin, okay? But don't overhit the bag, okay? Focus on hitting with full extension, okay? Not jamming the punches. That's another good thing to learn how to punch properly. Everybody sits here with big gloves and they want to overhit. What happens when you overhit? You start jamming your punches. So bare knuckle, full extension, landing with the right part of the knuckle. Okay, so you can see I'm using my extension, landing with whatever knuckle I decide I want to land with. Nice and light, touching, picking which knuckle I'm using, landing that full extension as best as I can. Okay, that is your key. So you'll notice right away how much I've improved the common mistakes in punching, right? One, not focusing on good wrist, not focusing on which knuckles because your gloves are too big. And when your gloves are too big, you don't care about your wrist positioning and what knuckles are going to land. You can hit with these knuckles, doesn't matter. This forces you to have to use the right part of your hand, have good wrist position, and ultimately fix your punches. So get the right part of the knuckle and get full extension, and right away your punches are going to be better, all right? So now when you transition into a big glove, if I put big gloves on right now, I have that nice tactile feel of my knuckles landing on the bag. So even if I put on a 16-ounce glove now, boom, I will still want to feel my knuckles land through. And I take a lot of pride in it, being from traditional martial arts as a kid to even kickboxing now as an adult. Every time, even with a big glove on, I'm trying to drive the right knuckles on the right part. That's precision striking. And if you're in a small MMA glove, I feel this type of training is even more important. Learning to punch proper for bare knuckle MMA is that much more important. Stop breaking your hands on these fights, okay? I can create another video in the future on how we can toughen up our hands, but use bare knuckle training to really help you improve the quality and the technique of your punches. All right? I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you support the channel by going to Hayabusa Fight and going to check out their T3 boxing gloves, my personal favorites. We have Perfect Sports Nutrition. We're giving you guys 20% off with the code Bazooka20. And last but not least, bazookatraining.com. For less than $10 a month, yes, $10 a month, you get 4 brand new videos every single Monday. And the 4 videos are broken up into home drills, which you need zero equipment, bag work drills, if you have a bag at the home or the gym, I give you a whole curriculum on the bag. Then you have tutorials where I break things down, and sparring drills. If you have a partner looking to compete, this is the curriculum. I give you the basics here, but if you want the full curriculum, the knowledge, and how everything merges together, that's bazookatraining.com. All right, we'll see you next time. Share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, help the algorithm out, and we'll see you next time here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Welcome to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA online training. I'm Bazooka Joe Valtellini, the owner here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Over the past year, I've designed and created a website to teach Bazooka curriculum at home and across the world. The purpose of this website is for you to, one, hit your fitness and health goals, all while learning world-class martial arts instruction from me. The beautiful thing about this website, it's geared for all levels. So if you're learning martial arts for the first time as a beginner, we help you progress into the bigger stages. And if you're a pro fighter, guess what? We have different fight concepts for you to improve your tool set and your skills in the ring or cage. As the fastest rising kickboxing world champion and a lifelong martial artist with over 30 years of experience, I've been able to combine my passion for martial arts and teaching to create this website. This website is going to give you some of the tricks, secrets, and inside look at some of the training I use to win my world title. Once you subscribe to this site, you're going to be getting weekly training videos and tutorials that you can do from anywhere. The sections are broken up into 3 parts. The first is bag workout. So if you have a bag at home or at your gym, you can use these workouts to supplement your training. The second is at-home workouts. A lot of us don't have the room for a bag or a bag in general, so these workouts are for no equipment needed and you can do them anywhere. And finally, the tutorial section. If you're having any problems with a specific technique or fight concept that's covered in any of the workouts, go to the tutorial section, learn the technique, and then go back to the workout, and this time, do it with proper technique. One of the added benefits once you subscribe is the forums section, where you can get a more personalized experience where you can ask questions and I'll be able to go in there and answer them. It's all about building a team and a community of martial artists helping each other grow. So subscribe now to get access to all the videos plus more so you can be part of the squad here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA.